Hey guys, back with another Lee Chess rapid game against migarbi. G6. I'll go G3, bishop G7, bishop G2. Ah, so he goes E5, interesting. Knight E7. Okay, I want to play a Botvinnik system. Presumably he's going to go F5 at some point. Otherwise, why put your knight on this square? So if he goes F5, I'll probably go D3. Is there any concern? No. Okay. I'm waiting a little bit to decide whether or not I want to go D4 or D3. I think I'm going to go D4. Yeah, I'll go D4. We'll try this. I think it makes some sense now that this D pawn is a little bit weak to try and pry open the D file. Somehow I also feel like if he's going to go F5, I'd rather also play D4 and just open up the center. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I've been wrong in the past. Maybe just bishop E3 here. If F takes E4, maybe not. How should I play? D takes E5, D takes E5. I could just leave the tension here. F4 isn't really a threat, I don't think. Bishop E3 is the most natural looking move to me. But maybe bishop G5? Is that better? He can go H6, but I think maybe after bishop E3. I'm trying to decide if forcing him to insert H6 is not good in this case. Yeah, I'm going to go bishop G5. If he goes H6, I'm just going to put the bishop back on E3. One thing about putting your knight on E7 instead of F6, like you can get very similar positions with the knight on F6 instead. I'll show you guys the specific move order after the game, is that I can put my bishop on E3 here, and there's no knight G4, which is always kind of an irritation. And a lot of times white has to waste a move to go H3 to stop this knight G4 harassment. He can do that. I saw this and I just assumed E takes F5 would be good for me, but it is moderately annoying that now he can take with the knight. So I went on this diatribe about how the knight on E7 was worse, and then now my plan runs directly into a knight capture, which is now again harassing my bishop on E3. So that's good. I'm thinking D takes E5 here, though. Yeah, I'm going to play D takes E5. I mean, in a way, black is a little bit behind in development, and I feel like I should probably try and punish him for that. Now the only question is this irritating? Bishop C5. I'm threatening queen takes D8, rook takes D8, bishop takes E7 in that case. He can take on D1. I'll probably take with a rook. I'm not sure which one. Let's say rook F takes D1. And his knight is hanging. It's also pinned. He's probably going to play something like rook f7. Ah, but then I can just take, and then check here. And in fact, I can do that whichever place he puts the rook. So is this really irritating, or am I imagining things here? Bishop c5. It looks very natural, and it was my intended point of d takes e5. I'm going to play it. It looks uncomfortable for him. I've been trying to catch up on Game of Thrones here. That is a move. I didn't consider that. I can go bishop d6, though. Oh, no. Someone's calling me. I forgot to turn my phone off. Sorry about it. That phone call's not getting answered right now. I guess I'm just going to get in here with my bishop. Kind of an annoying square. He still has some coordination problems. Yeah, he can do this, but I'm not yet terrified. F3 is a threat. I know that. But presumably I can just go bishop h3. Can also go f3. Just stop the pawn from hitting there altogether. Wondering if that's more logical. The only thing I worry is if something like bishop h3 and then f3, I guess I have to go knight c1 and... stop blowing me up here. I'm trying to play a game of chess and record. Family's calling me. Don't they know chess is more important? Yeah, so like I said, I'm worried about bishop h3, f3, knight c1, which appears forced, and then him trading off these bishops. Let's say knight f6, bishop takes, rook takes. That hangs a pawn, but I'm essentially but he could take with the queen there. Yeah, I'm worried about essentially him trading off the light square bishops and then putting his queen on h3 and just checkmating me. So I'm highly tempted to just wuss out and go f3, just so that's not possible. It's also possible for me to go bishop f3, and if takes, I take back with the f pawn. Well, I can also take with the knight in that case. That looks interesting. Bishop f3, knight f6. Then he's threatening g4, which would be rough. Yeah, I don't like the look of that either. Maybe I overestimated my position a bit. I'm just going to go f3. A moderately ugly chess move. I'm not proud to play this move. Let me make that clear right now. I'm playing it, but I don't like it at all. But sometimes you have to do things you don't like. Because you play like an idiot. No, I don't know that this is bad for me at all. We'll see. He goes rook f7, so he's saying he wants to move that knight somewhere. Where, I'm not quite sure yet. Now bishop h3 is making some sense. No? Threatening to get in. He'd probably have to play knight f6. Maybe I can take and then play g4 or something. C5 also comes to mind, maybe with queen b3 being irritating. This knight is not a good piece. I need to do something about that at some point. I'm hoping he takes on g3 and just fixes it for me. Okay, let's play this. This makes some sense, I think. Did I just hang a pawn? Quite possibly. Depends on whether or not he's crazy enough to go grab it. Oh no. I'm gonna go king h1. I could. It's sort of more natural to me to go king g2, but I think if he's maybe taking on b2, I'm not gonna want this, and maybe I want the g file free later, so I'm just gonna go king h1. I like my position less than I liked it before. I think oh man. Yeah, I don't want to give up my dark squared bishop, but it's starting to look like I have to. I think bishop d6 was inaccurate. Okay, well. And again, I still have this stupid knight that I have to figure out what to do with. He takes with the rook. I thought he was going to take with the knight. I'm somehow less concerned about him taking this way. So now what? I'm, as usual, a little bit low on time. But I think this move is going to be annoying if I don't do anything about it. I think I'm just going to play queen c2. Is queen e1 better? No, I'm just going to play queen c2. That way, if rook d8, I can play rook a to d1 and keep my bishop on this tenuous but possibly annoying square for my opponent. Yeah, that's an issue. Okay. He can hop in if he wants. If knight d4, probably I accidentally almost, instead of drawing an arrow, I almost pre-moved knight takes d4, or the move knight d4 in general, which would have been hazardous to my health. This move I'm not so sure about though, because now I'm getting in, right? This is an odd chess move. Bishop e7, rook e7. Oh, I'm just winning an exchange. Okay, let's do that. That's a blessing. This move looks bad. I don't know what my opponent missed there. Maybe in his mind, the pawn was both on c5 and c6 at the same time. I occasionally do that. I'm not going to judge. But I will happily bag the exchange. He has to go... he can't go queen d6. He's got to go queen d8. Ooh, can I play this check instead? Yeah, let's do that. I can take the exchange, but I'd rather have the queen. Stop texting me. Now how do we play, though? Because my remaining pieces are not what you'd call quote-unquote good. I do feel like I'd be a little bit sad if he played this and then got the entire d file to himself, so I'm going to try and trade off a set of rooks. Makes sense to me. He says, no thank you, sir. Probably for the best. All right, I guess I got to take this. I'm relatively happy to have a pawn there instead of something else, but I guess I'm going to have to babysit that for the rest of the game as well. Maybe I can put my king here. That'd be kind of silly, but I don't even necessarily think that's a bad idea. Is e5 something? Getting in here. So if e5, rook takes, queen g6, bishop g7 forced. I'm not sure there's anything of actual... God. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my phone going off. I have yet to intelligently turn off the volume. I'm going to do that now. I don't... There we go. Okay, phone off. I don't see anything with e5. e5, rook takes. Queen... Yeah, I'm not going to do that. It does make some sense to me to try to open up the g file and use that, though. So if I go queen g2 check, king h8, queen g6... If rook g7, I'm just going to go queen h3, I think. And try and tickle him on some of these squares. Okay, this is irritating. Now it's on silent. It was on vibrate. The many modes of Tony Rowe's cell phone. That's okay. Now when I lose this game, I can blame my family. Oh dear. Yeah. So if this check, I am going to play that. And my idea was h4. Ah, that wouldn't work nearly as well as I thought it would. h4, bishop takes h4, queen takes h6 looks good at first. Rook h7 is not going to be that pleasant, I think. So I need to do something else. What that something else is, reasonable question. What do I play? Let's go queen f5. I'm not sure what this move does. Okay, I mean, I have a cheap attack on c5. He sees it. He saw it. Then I thought maybe I can get this guy going, though. Yeah, I would like to put my king on d3, but I can't in good conscience. I guess maybe I could. I don't want to walk into the g file yet, but maybe I could. I kind of feel like I'm bungling this a little bit. Maybe I should have just taken the exchange. We'll have to see after the game. But I couldn't help a weird material imbalance and just general larger amounts of fun. Yeah. I'm going to give this check, see where he goes. As expected. Maybe I can go b4 and create a permanent weakness on c5 that I can mess with. I like this pawn on e5 because it restricts his bishop a little bit. It might be long term something of a weakness though. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's okay. On e6 it's relatively safe. Maybe I can trade it for this pawn. Very subtle threat. Where did all my time go? 21 seconds is not enough time for this position at all. Yeah. Yeah. He has rook f6. Shoot. Well, I have queen a8 check in that case. I could have just played b4. I mean, I had that plan. Yeah. Maybe I have this now. He can't take because of queen g8 mate. So I pick up the piece. That's not helpful. Queen g8 mate, still a threat. Now I'm threatening his rook too. Not going to be easy to stop both. Again, you have 10 minutes. Like, Migarbi could have spent a ton of time there and really tried to capitalize, play like, you know, the best moves and really give me trouble with 11 seconds, but people continually rush it and find themselves... I'm not even really that good of a blitz or bullet player. I mean, my classical rating is the highest, but you know, people rush it and then look what happens. I mean, I think after I win the piece, I'm just winning, so it's already, I think, too late, but yeah, I'm okay. I was about to say I'm quite confident I can win this. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Interesting. English opening always leads to like just weird stuff. That's one of the reasons why I like it. It's more common when people play this move order against me that they just play knight f6 later and go into a King's Indian, but occasionally there are things like this that sort of take you into a little bit of more uncharted waters. I know some people play g6 against the English to try and go into a Grunfeld. So if white plays d4, black would play knight f6, knight c3, d5, and be back into a Grunfeld. But if they play something like e4, stopping d5, but threatening to go d4 now, which would sort of compel black to go into a modern or a King's Indian, black plays e5 instead, and then takes it into something totally sort of uncharted. The only reason some people prefer and you might be asking, okay, why not meet c4 by knight f6 then? Well, some people would rather play the positions with e5 that I just mentioned instead of these positions where, I don't know, some people think like queen a4 is good or whatever. So, anywho, this specific line, g6 and bishop g7 with e5, it's more common to be, it's more commonly reached, I would say, by e5, and then something like g3, knight c6, knight c3, g6, and then something like this. And this is called, I've mentioned this a bunch of times, I've reached this position quite a few times, or similar positions quite a few times on my channel. This is called the Botvinnik System. But in this game, black did not play knight c6, so he went c6 instead. And this is truly sort of a independent modern setup that you couldn't get any other way, I think, for the most part. Some people, I'm a little bit skeptical of the knight on e7. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's necessarily the greatest either. For instance, like, I don't know, knight c6, e4, d6, knight e2, f5, d3. I think the knight is maybe a little bit better placed, a little bit more active on f6. It maybe has a little bit brighter of a future. And in addition, with this knight on f6, this knight can come back to e7. And it's relatively well placed there. It fights for d5. It allows you to go c6, etc. And this is a popular setup against the Botvinnik system. I think it's a good one. I think black is pretty much equal there. The knight on e7 somehow feels like it doesn't have a lot of exciting opportunities. But yeah. How many times has this position actually been reached? I'm curious. Oh, that's not too bad. Oh, Larsen is white in 1974. Sweet. I'm for sure going to go back and look at this game later. Okay, I'm going to click on it right now. I can't resist. Did he go d4? Oh my god, he went d4. All right. I feel totally vindicated. All right, we're back. d4, white scores 100%. Wow. That's interesting. Petrosian was white. Larsen was white. That's a pretty good group. I'm in good company. It feels dubious to me. This position feels like it's just better for white. Like, let's say knight d7 would be very typical, and I'd probably play something like h3, or probably not h3 here because I don't have to be scared of anything. Bishop e3 or b3 and bishop b2 are white's real choices here. I guess bishop f4 is possible, but somehow to me in this position it feels a little bit wonky to do that. I probably would not play b3. It isn't the only game that reaches position. I'd probably play bishop e3. But I might play b3, but my bishop would go to the e3 square most likely. And I think this type, black could go knight g4 here, but I don't think it really does much. I think this should be better for white, who can just go queen d2, rook a to c1, rook f to d1, or queen to d2, rook a to d1, and keep this rook on the f-file for f4 later. Probably h3, and black will have to watch out for this backward and weak d6 pawn for the rest of the game, and white has a little bit more space. I think this is just a good version of the Fianchetto King's Indian. And I think black might, if I had to hazard a guess, might be worse than this 0.5 that the computer is giving him. But yeah, I thought about this immediately. I wasn't sure. It's all very similar. I could go bishop e3 here. I could go bishop g5 here. Taking with the bishop is interesting, but somehow I feel like that's not very good. I'd probably go bishop h6. And bishop g7 seems really bad, because it would be very hard to stop the loss of a d-pawn after this, and yeah, the d-pawn's just hanging. It just looks really bad. Bishop g5 was interesting. During the game, it was bishop e3 or bishop g5 for me. D takes e5 is a good candidate move too, that I consider, but I didn't think that I really had to worry about not being able to play this later. Like, I don't think e takes d4, knight takes d4 is really anything for black, so I just thought about keeping the tension for now. And my thought was that bishop g5, h6, bishop e3, later on maybe black will be forced to take with the d-pawn, where otherwise maybe he would like to take with the bishop because this h6 pawn is loose. Or maybe I get bishop e3 in, essentially, and later I get to play the useful queen d2 with a gain of tempo because of the weak h6 pawn. So that was my thought. But bishop e3 right away is also probably similar. I mean, h6 in a way helps black and in a way hurts black. You could argue that maybe it's, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So, but I'm not sad I played this move. And now, yeah, g5. I think this is just a little bit too reckless. It's too many pawn moves in the opening and not enough of this. But I didn't necessarily, I think, punish black as much as I could have either. Let's request a computer analysis just for fun. Because I sort of feel like after knight d7, I had already, maybe bishop c5. It looked like like it was screaming to be played, but I didn't consider knight d7 at all, which is stupid. Meeting my threat of queen takes d8, and also with his own threat of knight takes c5. I didn't really want to trade queens either. I sort of rejected this out of hand, but maybe I should do it. I thought about queen b3 also. But, yeah, f4 is just kind of crushing. It feels like I have to take, and then I need to do something. And here, maybe bishop d6 is not the best move. Yeah, bishop a3 is something I thought about after I had already gotten into some trouble. Like when he played queen b6, I had all of a sudden wished maybe my bishop was on a3 instead. I mean, yeah, it guards the b2 pawn, but it's also, it keeps the d file open, and it also, the bishop is just not loose on a3 where it is loose on d6. Yeah, I should have played bishop a3. I think bishop d6 is an inaccuracy. And yeah, I can go here, but I thought something like this was kind of terrifying kind of scary for white. Because the knight is on the f file, he can actually do that. So what if he goes like, yeah, to some other square, and then takes like this? Knight d3. Yeah, this just seems bad for white. I don't like this at all. If I have to go king h1, then yeah, I just think allowing this pawn to f3 is a big hassle. And also my knight is just, you know, c1 is not an awesome square. So I think f3 was probably pseudo-forced. Rook f7, good move. Yeah, I thought about queen b3 here too, but I didn't play as bad as I thought I did. So that's good. I thought I played quite a bit crappier than that. It seems like I've already screwed up. I think bishop d6 is just not good. It looked very natural to me, and it looked like a good square for the bishop, but yeah, I don't see a lot of promising plans here. And yeah, I think I thought bishop h3 was good, but already it almost seems like the line black played, I think, was quite good, in fact, with knight c5 here. I thought he should take with a knight, though. Maybe taking with a knight is weird, but it compels me to give up my bishop, and yeah, I mean, his bishop is not great, but my remaining two minor pieces are not very good. This knight is hampered by my pawns. It doesn't have a real future, and well, in addition, my own knight, yeah, and I have these redundant knights, and not any real options. My knights aren't very good here. I have to sort of find new squares for them. I'd really like to get to g3 somehow with this knight, but that's just literally impossible. And so I just don't really have a great idea about how I'm supposed to continue here exactly. Yeah, and I think black is just a little bit better. Probably it's only a matter of time before some piece finds itself in a d4, and I'm just really sad. This structure reminds me. We'll come back. Where am I? Move 17. This structure reminds me a little bit of the Exchange Kings Indian. You might think that's kind of weird, but something like this, where, yeah, white has a little bit of pressure, but for instance, this is not the most theoretical move, but c6 is a possible move. One problem white sometimes runs into in this line is that having played c2 and e4, d4 is no longer guardable by a pawn. It's just a permanently weak square. Whereas, on the other hand, black has been a little bit less committal and has put his pawn on c6, and so white does not have the, corresponding weakness on d5 that black has on d4 to sink his teeth into. And so you might run into some long-term problems later. And this structure is, similar but different in that black has d4 to work with, and I don't have d5 to work with. And as such, my minor pieces suffer a little bit. But rook takes c8, I think, let me off the hook a little bit. Rook d8 is an annoying threat, I think, but queen c2, I just had that little bit of time to protect my bishop, and now I can save it. Knight e6, rook a to d1. Yeah, and c5 is just a blunder. I mean, there's, yeah, just an unfortunate swing of the game here. But it is worth considering. Yeah, queen d6, note that knight f6 just wins on the spot. Yeah, it is worth considering whether or not I should just see the computer. I would expect the computer to go for the queen every time just because they're greedy like that, but maybe this is just cleaner. Yeah, do get rook d5 in that case. And yeah, I mean, white is of course very much better here too. There's no doubt about that. I had trouble sort of evaluating and deciding. I kind of just wanted to play with the queen, but this position is not that easy. It is interesting that the computer wants to take with the rook. I would not expect that. I would expect that something like maybe c takes d4 or probably e takes. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure which way. It's kind of hard. Maybe black has some small problems. C takes d4. I'd be worried that I'm giving white this passed c pawn to work with long term. And e takes d4. I worry about this weak pawn and the g file, which is what happened in the game. I feel like I played kind of crappy around here though. I feel like I missed some opportunities. Like shifting my queen over to the king side and into these squares is a good idea, but I played queen e6 and then back to f5, and I played like e5, e6, and eventually sort of, this pawn was too weak. I don't feel like I played the stage of the game that well. Maybe I thought about queen h5 here as well, just looking to go h4 with the pawn protected and with the threat to the h6 pawn. And what does black do about that? It's not that easy. If here, rook g1. What if d3 though? h4. Jeez, d2. Okay, and I have to go back. Interesting. I don't understand chess at all. I really don't. Okay, this falls and then this falls most likely. Yeah, that's pretty sick. Would have never found that. Literally not one time, but that's all right. Interesting idea. Queen f5, what was my idea? Oh, I wanted to get the... Maybe it's better if I want to play queen e5 and get the e-pawn going, that I should just play queen f5 right away. Queen e6, king h8, queen f5 is somehow I feel like I'd rather have that check in reserve for later instead of blowing it right away. And maybe I want his king on the g file, so probably if I had to do it over again, I would just play queen f5 here. It seems a little bit more natural to me, threaten the c-pawn right away. Maybe either I go a3 and b4 like I did in the game, or I just go e5 as I did in the game also right away. I'm not sure. e5, check, because I didn't know what to do, but I actually don't think queen e6 is a very good move. I should probably just play a3 right away if I want to play a3 and b4. I think that's better, but again, I had no time and I was just sort of praying to God that a plan would sort of pop into my head at some point. Playing for time. But somehow, yeah, black gets into a little bit of trouble with his king here. Yeah, and letting my queen into a8 was not good, because the g8 square is surprisingly weak to some like long-range, weird geometrical maneuvers. So probably rook f6 is just not good. But if not rook f6, then black is probably... If black cannot win this e6 pawn for fear of like weird back rank weaknesses and stuff, this position is going to be very uncomfortable for him, I think. If this pawn is like allowed to stay. Yeah, I don't think black's in very good shape if that's the case. Because this pawn severely restricts the mobility of all of his pieces, and probably I can just slowly maybe improve my queen to e5, maybe I can improve my rook to g4, I can play h4, b4, and I can slowly crank up the pressure. And suddenly even the looming threat of him pushing the D pawn is also sort of no longer there. So, but maybe rook f6 is just, yeah, I think this is sort of the beginning of the end. If he has to lose the piece, then he's just, yeah, this is just completely lost. And this check just made it worse, of course. But I think black missed that queen g8 was a threat. And so just tossed in this check, but then realized afterwards that I have a double attack on g8 and e2, and yeah, the game was just simply over at that point. I thought I played this game worse than the computer is telling me I played this game. There would be probably a few things I would do differently, but probably I need to review a couple games in this structure as well. I feel like maybe this position after f5 is not that good for black, but already 6 moves later, I felt like I had mostly bungled it. I think bishop g5, h6, bishop e3 is okay. I think maybe, yeah, here I need to find something else. But it's an instructive game nonetheless. Wow, f4. That's a manly-looking chess move. Or maybe bishop c5 is fine, but after knight d7, I should go bishop a3. And I think probably I still have some pressure. I don't like allowing f4 that much, though. What I really want to do is take on f5. Can I take on f5 and after knight takes go bishop c5? How good is this? He must go either queen takes d1 or rook e8. Rook e8 makes more sense. I mean, this, yeah, maybe this is the way I should have played. This also seems extremely comfortable for white. I wanted to play against this structure, but I was reluctant to allow this, give this knight on e7 purpose by allowing it to go to f5 and attack my bishop, but I have this retort, and I think d6 is, my knight on e4 is very good, d6 is extremely weak. His dark square bishop is very bad. I think probably, yeah, he can go knight d7, but I think after like bishop a3, I like this position for white. I would be happy to play this. Maybe I should exchange first. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I like the, at least optically, I like the look of this. This knight can come to c3. These knights are a little bit more harmonious on c3 and e4 than c3 and e2. Maybe b4, b5 is possible down the line. I'm not sure, but I like this for white. Yeah, interesting game nonetheless. I really like playing the English openings. A lot of fun. I'm sorry if you guys don't like it. I feel like I play a lot of these flank openings as white sort of ad nauseum. I'll try to mix in a d4 game and an e4 game here pretty soon, but interesting one. I hope you guys liked it. I will be back with an opposite colored bishops ending video relatively soon. I just have to put everything into ChessBase. I sort of like to study everything first and make sure the material is well organized and sensical and sensibly organized and compiled, and you know, my instruction is not going to totally suck. So I'm working on that. Hopefully I can record that tonight or tomorrow and get it out. Probably tomorrow, maybe Thursday. You know how I go with deadlines. if any of you guys followed my book, then you'll know I was years late on that. So a couple days late on a video is pretty good, actually. But that'll be out soon. I hope you guys like that when I get that out. It's been inspired by recent events. I hope you like this game. I will see you guys later. Bye.